That feeling when you record a whole video and then realize that your microphone wasn't turned on? Yeah, that's how I feel right now. Anyways, what does Danny Boyle, Bryan Singer, Victor Salva, and Roman Polanski have in common? Being pervs who tell on themselves in film form. Hey Lashy Kids and Driving Mutants, I'm Lady Shasha, Mistress of the Snark, and I just watched 28 Years Later. This isn't going to be a review as much as it's going to be a reaction to what I've just seen. As the title suggests, this takes place 28 years after the previous film. We're introduced to a father and a son, and the son is 12 years old, and he's about to go out on his first off-island adventure. I'm not sure whether they're just scavenging or if they're supposed to be doing other things besides scavenging. We just see them scavenging, and we see them trying to be undetected by the rage virus zombies. I don't know who was more annoying, the father or the son. They just could not stop themselves from making all that damn noise. You know that you are in a situation where if the zombies hear you, it's your ass. But no, you're going to keep making noise because that's a smart thing to do. And you supposedly have lived in these conditions for many years. So that off the rip was bothering me. They really made me feel like old girl from Jeepers Creepers.
Okay, you know the part in scary movies where somebody does something really stupid and everybody hates them for it? This is it.
And I use that clip for a particular reason. That director may have something in common with this director, but I'll come back to that. I did enjoy the different types of zombies. We had bloaters, which were fat and slow moving, and they couldn't walk. They stayed on the ground, kind of like slugs. Then we had our regular rage virus zombies who were fast and naked. Finally, we had some alpha zombies. We were bigger, not as big as Attack on Titan big, but they are larger and still sausage swinging naked. Spike, the 12-year-old, has a mother who has a mysterious illness. After seeing his father cheat on his mother, he decides to take his mother off the island onto the mainland. Why is the reason he's going to the mainland? Well, when he was off island with his father, he saw some fires. And when they came back, there was like, they threw a little party, a welcome back party for the two of them. And when he sees his father cheating on his mother, he leaves the party enraged and goes back home. And he starts talking to this elder, not sure if this person's supposed to be his grandfather, his uncle, or who this person's supposed to be. But he starts talking to them and telling them about the fire that he saw on the island. And the elder tells him, oh, that must be the doctor. And the little boy was like, there's a doctor out there? So of course, he is thinking, well, if I can just get my sick mother to the doctor, then the doctor can cure her. And so that's his impetus for leaving the island and going back to the mainland where all the zombies are. I was a little bit mad at this plot convention because even if you thought there was a doctor out there that could save your mother, you're 12-year-old and your mother is sick. How are you guys going to get through the territory with all the zombies? And this is after the child had seen the alpha zombie. I don't know why he thought he could brave that, but here we are. They do get temporarily rescued by a Swedish, I don't know whether he was in the army or the navy or what branch of military he was in, but it was a Swedish military guy that saves them at a gas station. And that sequence was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that for what it was. Then there's also a sequence that might remind you of the remake to Dawn of the Dead, because there is a pregnant zombie in this. For some reason, there's a pregnant zombie in a train, and the mother, the sick mother, wants to help the zombie birth the child. Now, it is implied that due to her illness that the mother is not thinking straight at many times, and so that could be explained away. That sequence was pretty entertaining. So I was saying the Swedish guy got by the alpha right after the mom delivered the zombie baby, but the baby wasn't a zombie. The baby was like a normal baby. They never explained how the zombie had a normal baby that wasn't affected, but they're going with it. So now the mom and the son are trying to get away from the alpha, and They have like the plot armor of the gods, because first the Swedish guy comes to save them. Next, the doctor on the island pops up just to save them. Like, that's complete plot armor. And it just didn't work for me. Oh, did I mention who the zombie baby's father was? I think it's implied that the alpha zombie is the baby daddy to the pregnant zombie on the, was it a train or was it a bus? Might have been, I could not remember whether it's a train or a bus. But either way, the alpha zombie is mad because he wants his baby, I guess. But like, what are you going to do with the baby? You're a rage virus and the baby's a normal baby. You're probably just going to eat the baby if you get the baby anyways. So anyways, the doctor that saved them takes them back to his lair and does a medical workup on the mom and discovers that she has brain cancer that has metastasized throughout her body. So unfortunately, she doesn't have much longer to live. And of course, this comes as a horrifying shock to the 12-year-old. I wish I cared more, but we didn't spend too much time with this family at all to get to know them, to develop any feelings of care for them. The movie doesn't develop their characters hardly, and so when things happen to them, you kind of don't care. A good contrast to that is what we saw earlier this year with Sinners, where you had a solid 30 minutes to 40 minutes to get to know the characters so that when they had to deal with what they had to deal with, you kind of cared about them. Like I usually say, it's in the storytelling. Another good comparison to this movie is Train to Busan, where you do get to know the father and the daughter, even though it doesn't take much time. Like maybe they did 4 to 7 minutes of character development, but what they did is written so well. Through the actions, you really got to know that father and the daughter from Train to Busan, and you even got to know the, I guess I would call him the other father because he was on the train with his pregnant wife, so he was a soon-to-be father. You got to know them enough to care about these characters. And like I said, it's in the writing, and the writing wasn't there to get you to care about these characters in this particular film. Suffice it to say, I did not have a connection with these characters. The effects look decent, and the rage zombies look pretty good, but that's tantamount to saying beautiful gowns. I was a bit bored. No, I was more than a bit bored during most of the movie, and to me that is a crime for a zombie movie to be boring. Let's talk about the ending. I called the Mighty Morphin Pedo Rangers ending. What am I talking about? Well, a lot of Americans may not know who that was meant to look like in the ending, because when what happened with Jimmy Savile, or Savile, I think they pronounce it Savile. When whatever happened with Jimmy Savile happened in the UK, it really wasn't broadcast in the US.
Back then, I thought it was simple. We just had to get the evidence to catch him. I didn't realise the whole world around him had to change before the truth could come out.
In 1958, Leeds native Jimmy Savile began his music career as a DJ at Radio Luxembourg. On January 1st, 1964, BBC premiered the first episode of Top of the Pops, one of their most watched programs. Jimmy Savile hosted the episode and would go on to essentially be the face of the show through July 2006.
And it's coming up, not just yet, in a second now.
Savile would go on to host and present in other BBC shows like Tyne Tees Television's Young at Heart and Clunk Click.
He headed up so many programmes in the BBC.
Welcome indeed to the first of 19 programmes.
While rumors were widely spread about Savile's behavior throughout his career, it wasn't until after his death that substantial investigations were launched. In November 2011, BBC's Newsnight began an investigation into Savile, but before their findings were broadcast, an editor pulled the plug.
Suddenly, we're told that there's a problem with our story.
A few months later, the Sunday Mirror exposed the Axed investigation. Police were also investigating, and in November 2012, announced allegations of abuse on a, quote, staggering and unprecedented scale.
The Metropolitan Police is coordinating a vast inquiry, looking into more than 450 allegations of abuse.
From 1955 to 2009, Savile assaulted 450 people, many of them very young. His growing fame allowed him access to vulnerable viewers, children, and hospital patients.
We're talking about people who went in as patients, and some of them came out abused victims.
He preyed upon young guests and audience members at his BBC shows Top of the Pops and Jim'll Fix It. even groping at least one victim on camera. Savile also took advantage of patients at the several hospitals he'd been given access to. At Leeds, he had his own room, and for Broadmoor, a set of keys. He'd regularly visited Duncroft-approved school for girls, where he would take teenage girls for rides in his car.
I remember seeing him driving off with 3 girls from the school.
A year after his death, Savile's family members decided to remove his gravestone from Scarborough Cemetery.
Jimmy Savile's gravestone was dismantled and removed, having only been unveiled 2 weeks ago.
Many of his honors were stripped, charities named after him were closed down, and other memorials were removed.
The University of Bedfordshire has withdrawn the honorary degree it's awarded to Jimmy Savile.
Many people would not get that reference. It'll go right over their head. They'll just think, oh, look, it's a cool, campy, kung fu type ending. And oh, look at their sweatsuits. That's funny. But if you know who this person is, it's not so funny. Do you see this character with the white hair and tracksuit? He's modeled after Jimmy Savile. I just happened to watch a documentary about him with my sister. Otherwise, this would have went over my head too. It was called Jimmy Savile, A British Horror Story.
Big question I get asked is, when did it all start and why?
As a child, you just thought, this guy can make things happen.
He knew everybody.
Well, I thank you for everything.
With Jim, you accepted things as normal, but it was abnormal.
That is supposed to be me. What did I ever do to you that you would draw that picture of me?
He knew fame and power gave him every door.
I am a voluntary helper. Sometimes, when nobody's looking, I help the lasses.
It turns out everywhere he'd been, there'd been abuse.
And not in your world. I'm not constrained by anything. Let me tell you, you really are missing something. In fact, you're missing everything.
What the hell type of weird-ish is Danny Boyle on? Did you like something I wore in this video? You can shop my closet. Check out my exclusive pics just for you. Use my personal code EVAR6 in the SHEIN search box to see my top selections. Coming off as pro-Chomo. I heard people saying, oh, it's a dark ending. It would be a dark ending if we had been introduced to this character at the beginning of the movie and it was established that he was a villain.
Wait, sit here. Sit. Auntie, what's going on? Jimmy, sit still, keep quiet, and do not move from this spot.
So then when you see him pop up again at the end of the movie and you know that he's a villain, oh, that's a dark ending. Modeling this person off a real person with real victims? You don't think that's hella disrespectful to the victims at all? The least you could have done was get him supremely killed and eaten by the alpha zombie. Like, at least have the alpha rip his dick off. At least that would have been cathartic to some extent. Being tongue-in-cheek about a predator, that's not it. It was just in the worst of taste. And I haven't been this perplexed since Victor Salva quoted that Chomo Woody Allen saying the heart wants what the heart wants in that bum-ass Jeepers Creepers 3 movie. Mind you, Woody Allen married his own stepdaughter. Danny Boyle, I guess we need to put you on the same watch list with Bryan Singer, Victor Salva, Woody Allen, and Roman Polanski, because you're on that Predator-ish. Not cool. Editing Shasha here. Just one more thing. I just couldn't help myself but to look up what Danny Boyle had to say about this. The AI overview says, in Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, the character Sir Jimmy Crystal played by Jack O'Connell, is a cult leader inspired by Jimmy Savile. Boyle and Alex Garland, the writer, have confirmed that the character's appearance and cult-like following are direct references to the disgraced British TV personality and sex offender. The film explores themes of selective memory and how societies choose to remember or forget their past, particularly in the context of a world where Savile's crimes were never revealed publicly. Here's more of a breakdown. The character. Sir Jimmy Crystal leads a group of followers who dress in vibrant purple tracksuits, heavy gold jewelry, and blonde wigs mirroring Savile's distinct style. Savile's crimes. In the world of 28 years later, the rage virus outbreak in 2002 predates the exposure of Savile's crimes in the real world. This means that in the film's universe, Savile's legacy as a beloved television personality and fundraiser might be the only one known by the characters. Selective memory and cult following. The film uses the character of Jimmy Crystal to explore how societies selectively remember or forget aspects of their past, particularly in a post-apocalyptic setting where historical information might be limited. The horror franchise. The sequel, 28 Years Later, is part of a larger horror franchise that includes 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. The film's ending, with its reference to Savile, has sparked debate and discussion amongst fans and critics, not a direct portrayal. While the character is inspired by Savile, the film doesn't explicitly portray the crimes Savile committed. Instead, it uses the character's imagery and cult following to explore the themes of selective memory and the potential for historical figures to be remembered in different ways. I still don't think this is a great way to approach this subject, as I think a lot of this context is lost on the audience because it was not communicated effectively. I don't care if you want to call it parody or if you're trying to be an edgelord. There are some things that aren't just in poor taste. They are devoid of taste. They are tasteless. Imagine you're one of Jimmy Savile's victims and you go to the movies and you think, oh, I'm just going to go see a fun zombie movie. And you end up being confronted by the image of your abuser. What in the sincerest is wrong with y'all? I say y'all because it's two people responsible for this. Danny Boyle directed this and Alex Garland wrote it. I don't know whether it was one of you or both of you that decided it would be a good idea to put an actual chomo in the end of the movie as some type of heroic figure, but oh my god, no. Savile was a real person with real victims. This is the kind of ish I cannot rock with. And like I said, it's not enough to just say that this has a dark ending. Film, like any other art form, communicates a message. What message are you communicating with this? And not taking a side when it comes to harming children is taking a side. If you aren't having the zombies destroy the evil child predator, what message do you think is being conveyed to your audience? I know what I got from it, and I am not with that messaging. I hear that Nia DaCosta is supposed to direct the follow-up. Did you deliberately mess this up to sabotage the sister? Or is she expected to clean up this mess? I'm not going to do my usual sign-off because no one needs to see a couple of pervs spit in the face of abuse victims and call it entertainment.
It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
I'm going back to my Romero zombies, my Fulci zombies, my Dan O'Bannon zombies. Which, by the way, Romero and O'Bannon already did naked zombies. Until next time, don't take any wooden nickels.